Welcome to Deep Thought. Toxic people. Toxic people. And this is kind of a follow-up to the vampire thing because then this is, not using that type of term, but some people out here just toxic. They really are. Now, you can call them vampires or sometimes, you know what, it's a little different from saying a vampire because a vampire is like just, they can be focused either unconsciously or consciously on bringing your energy down and drawing energy from you, right? A toxic person, they just poison just to be around. They might not consciously trying to bring your energy down or even want your energy. Just being around them, period. Because they're not doing anything, but they just toxic one way or the other. And I mean, it can come in a myriad of bunch of ways. It could be that person who's depressed and they not even consciously trying to take your energy or anything, but because of their depression, they bringing down everybody around them. It's like when you're around them, all they talk about is some negative ass shit. Like all the time. Now, I understand dealing with some negative stuff and talking about it every now and then because we're all human and we might want to share some experiences. But these people will be negative or depressed, like they going through depression and they feel like they need to share it with everybody, And that's one. I mean, you can halfway deal with them and maybe try to help them. But then you got some other folks, they might be toxic because they always consciously trying to cause trouble and discord. You see that with some trolls right here on YouTube or any other social media. It's like no matter what, they just going to be toxic. It's like they're not bringing anything to the conversation. They could be contrarian. You could say the sky is blue and they going to be like, no, it's not. It's like everybody feeling good, everybody could be talking about a good subject and they the ones that will purposely introduce something negative to it, right? It's like one of those things, they got a lot of toxicity in their souls, in their spirit. And instead of working on it, they just really just share it. Some unconsciously, some consciously. Like I'll use that troll example again. I've seen live streams where you have somebody on some negative stuff just sitting up there complaining to the point you have to block them off. It's like nothing they say is positive. It's like they have no positive energy. That person's toxic. That person is toxic because here's the thing. And sometimes you could say it's unconscious, but sometimes it's conscious. Sometimes people are just like that. They going through some stuff, so they want everybody else to go through the same thing, or they want to spread their ideas or negative ideas, their negative energy around, even if you try to say, well, that hasn't been my experience. I'm doing something kind of different, right? It's like, no, they not even working that way. They not even thinking that way, It's that type who, I don't know. They usually, toxic people, they can be in relationships and stuff, right? They can be in relationships and, of course, they're going to be toxic there. But a lot of times, a lot of toxic people like to spread their toxicity to a group. They love to do that. They in a group. I don't care what everybody's talking about. They want to change the conversation. You could be talking about the most positive things in the world. They are throwing the negative thing. That's toxic. And it's like I said when dealing with the real vampires, people have to be very careful of their energy, their spirit. You don't want to be around somebody who's like that. Now, I understand most people want to try to help those folks because that's their first instinct. But when a person's that toxic, where they insist on staying in that energy, the best you can do is honestly stay out of it. Only people who should even try to deal with those people are like legitimate healers, And I get into that in my next one. like legitimate, like their purpose on the planet is to clean up that toxic energy. They built for that because everybody got something. Everybody got some gift. You know, unfortunately, some people use it in a negative way. Because even those toxic people, if they were to use that same energy in a positive way, spread positive energy, they could go further. But a lot don't. A lot don't. Indeed, some people can be like in these YouTube spaces, even beyond this little sector. You can get some people, they can make money off of spreading that negativity. I mean, shoot, in mainstream media, you got some people who spread negativity, but that shit's toxic. What is that really doing? They getting some money because people paying attention to them. Because the worst thing about a toxic person is if they have enough charisma, enough influence to influence other people to think the same way. Then you got a whole group of toxic people. And that's bad for communities. That's just bad for living. Because understand something. The thing about a community, we all affecting each other. When you're in a group, we're all affecting it. Like, I give you a great example. If you're in a grocery store, I ain't gonna call the name of a store, but there's a local store that, and we've got a ton of grocery stores for anybody living around here, so you ain't gonna be sure which one I'm talking about. But they actually changed managers, and I noticed a change in the energy. And I'm talking with some of the workers there, and they're like, you know, they ain't use the word toxic, but similar words. You know, there was a big change. I mean, it was such a change. I picked up on it. I was like, dang, I used to walk through here. It used to be real fun. Now it's like, But what they were telling me, they were saying, you know, the changes were very toxic. You got some toxic folks in there now, you know? Because the thing about toxic people, for some reason, they tend to draw others who are similar. You know, in fact, in any community, like in an entire community, any organization, any place, it tends to follow the lead of the most dominant person. Now, if that dominant person is a positive energy person, happy person, you know, always on a positive, happy, outgoing, you know, all of that stuff to make people feel good, everybody else is going to feel good. But if that dominant person is naturally toxic, that causes problems. Indeed, I can tell the energy of the most powerful person. I don't care where I go. I can tell the energy of whoever the manager is. I can always tell it, and it's always the same, right? But you got that. And that's not good for our spirits. That's not good for the spirits. You ever just be around people who they're just toxic. You don't feel good afterwards. Shoot, if you're working on a job with them, you can't wait to get home. If you live in a home with them, you can't wait to get to work. That's how deep it is. But it's something to really pay attention to, really deal with, really see. So I want y'all to think about that. And I'll get back with y'all tomorrow. Peace.